Right, welcome to Rambling Achieved. Back at it again with Brandon for another
Howdy
duo
ho
video.
ho.
Thank you for joining me, sir.
Appreciate you for having me, man.
Hope you're in the right mood for some video game discussions, as that is the topic that's on the docket today. Right mood, right time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's I think we talked about this previously about just how wild it is that like a really great game can be completely overlooked depending on the damn night that you had before, the breakfast that you had that morning, or a coworker pissed you off that afternoon, whatever it may be. It's like it's wild how so many things outside of just the game can positively or negatively affect the game.
Yeah, because the game can be stellar quality. We, within the normality of the channel, what we do is obviously free picks each, but there's so many games that could have been chosen. Like I think back to like Red Dead 2. I didn't play that through in its entirety in the first thing because it just in its first beginning of that playthrough, it just felt like it dragged because it does. It's a very slow game, and if you're not in the like mood and mindset for something really slow paced, you're like, man, can this just pick up? I want something a little bit more adrenaline fueled and stuff like that. So there's so many factors, like you said, what you experience throughout your day, what you're in just the general mood in for, and stuff like
What do
that.
you what do you think about this? I was thinking because I just finished Chronos The New Dawn and I loved it,
Mhm.
and I jumped into a game called Wander Stars, and I felt like loving Chronos as much as I did hurt Wander Stars. Have you ever
Mm.
had that where it's like you almost feel like after you finish something really good, you need like 2 or 3 days to kind of just marinate on that experience before hopping into a new one?
Yeah, no, that's something that definitely happens. I think that happens with everybody, whether or not they admit it or not. But like
Hmm.
when you finish something that is like an epic, like a perfect example, like Expedition 33. There was like a week after that where it was like it doesn't matter what I pick up, there's nothing that will hold a candle to that, and I feel so
Yeah.
bad for anything that like obviously I'm choosing it. It's not like the game devs coming up to me being like, "Can you play my game?" It's like I just
Right.
feel bad because it's not going to get a fair showing because I love that thing so damn much, and that yeah, that's happened so many times.
Well, it's funny too. It's like I think the opposite is true for bad games. Like if you finish a bad game or a game that you were really sour on towards the end of it, I think the best thing you could do that would benefit the next game is to play it immediately. Where it's like you're comparing it to something you didn't like. So even if you kind of somewhat maybe like it a little, you're gonna like it a whole lot more because you're comparing it to something you just finished that you didn't like, or something that you put down that you didn't like.
And that's
Yeah, it's
perfect
interesting.
because that exactly happened this month as well with me coming off of Deadpool going into Sifu. And it's like
Mm,
I'm sure I would have enjoyed Sifu, but I did put it down as well. It was one of the titles that I did initially put down. I weren't feeling it at the time, but coming off of Deadpool and being like, this is kind of eh. And then
right.
picking up Sifu is like, this is what melee combat should feel like. This is
Mhm.
this is firing on all cylinders. This is an S tier game. Gotta love it.
Yeah, it is really it's so funny that we like look at art and we'll say things like trash or the whatever term you want to use. And I say it too, don't get me wrong. I call games awful all the time, movies awful. I Everybody does it. It's just a way of communication, but it's funny that like how often is something awful versus how often are you just in an awful fucking mood or in a really good mood? Or I think about it with co-op games. That's a really great example where if you're in an environment and you're just having a blast with your buddies playing couch co-op or competitive multiplayer but local, or you're just having a good time, whatever, it's like you could be playing a dog shit game and just be having so much fun laughing, drinking, whatever, cutting up, and you just don't understand. Like you'll never be able to possibly view that game as a bad game, no matter how many 4 out of 10s it gets. It's like it'll never matter to you.
Kane and Lynch too for me.
Mm,
It's a terrible game, but it
yeah,
will always have like a soft spot in my heart because me and a friend played it over the course of like an evening, and we just had it's that thing of like you enjoy the company of that person, and that's the bar
right,
almost that you're
right.
sitting in drinking together. Like that's just the scenario that you're in. It's not actually like you're doing anything productive and enjoyable. It's just you're just enjoying being with that person. You're just doing something that doesn't require that much brain power.
Yeah, and that's almost anything, right? Where it's
Mm.
like so the other night we went out and we were shooting pool, and it's like I don't like pool at all, really. I don't hate it, but like it was just a fun night of hanging out with my buddies, and like I was getting into pool, like because a few of them were like actually kind of good at pool, and I was like, well, I kind of want to try, like I want to see if I can play decently. I can't, never, like I tried,
Scuffs
but
the turf.
I
Oh,
was
can't play on that
horrible.
table anymore. Whoops.
Which is kind of weird. My dad was really, really good at pool. And the same arcade that I grew up going to where we played X-Men 92 a lot had a bunch of pool tables. And my dad was kind of like, my dad's always been a little bit of a hustler, like a little bit of a shisty fucking shady fucker. And he, so like he would play people for money and I would sit there and watch it. And then he would like teach me how to play pool. And young, like early age, I was decent at pool. And then I haven't played in decades, like literal decades. And God, oh my God, I horrible, horrible, horrible. But it's none of that matters. Like you playing a game, you're horrible at it. Doesn't matter. If you're having fun, none of the things that would typically matter with a single player game really matter at all in a co-op setting if you're enjoying it with a friend.
Yeah, because it mimics the experiences of just like say, obviously this wouldn't be you. Yours would probably like pick up basketball or something, but like football over here, like there would you don't even need to be good to just enjoy it.
Right.
Like just to kick a ball around. That's it. Like if somebody begins to really start trying their ass off, then yeah, it then impacts the enjoyment of everyone else. It's like, all right, we're not taking things that seriously. But when everybody's just chilling back and just you're messing around, like you can't go wrong. You can't have you're spending time with people that you enjoy spending time with, and that is it. You will just have enjoyment. You don't even need to really be doing anything. It's just you're doing a task together.
Dude, I often wonder why more like grown men or just grown adults in general don't collectively like you know play some sport as a group and like have that as but like you said though, because it seems like there's no middle ground where it's like you go and sign up to play rec league basketball or
Mm,
whatever and they're trying so hard and it's like, dude, I'm not gonna get hurt for fucking, like, there's no money in this at all. I'm never going to get hurt for pride as a 30-year-old man, like never will that happen. And if we are playing for money, it's like I know I'm not good enough to play for money, so I'm not going to do that.
mm.
And it's like I would really just like to find a, 3-on-3 environment where everybody is just kind of bullshitting and not really trying that hard. We're just trying to get a little exercise, burn 1,000 calories, just play for a couple hours and go get a dessert after.
Do you think that's where gaming's kind of filled that void for a lot of people, right? The people who just log on to Call of Duty every weekend and stuff like that,
Right.
and just they're not even playing it like it's a competitive game, but they don't play it even competitively. It's just they're just enjoying it because it seems like yeah. I remember years back, my dad had like a football thing that we would attend. I think it was every Wednesday night and stuff like that, and it
Mm,
was with like his dad went there as well, and they had a bunch of people, and it's really unfortunate because all it takes is because you have to have a driving force of a group like that. You have to have somebody who's like pushing it to everybody. Because the moment that that person stops doing that, no one else is gonna fill that void. A lot of the time, people just go, "Oh well, we just drifted apart" and stuff like that. And I think that's what
yeah.
happens a lot. You kind of need that connector and the leader of that kind of like social group to take the reins because a lot of people don't do
Yeah.
that.
That is very true. Yeah.
Because
And
it
I can't
happened
lie.
in like the final years of high school. Like we was doing it at like a fairly frequent amount, and then it just stopped. And it was just like, that was
Mm,
kind of a weird feeling. Like you're talking like 20 of them turned up at times, and then it
right.
started to slowly dwindle, and then just stopped. And it's just really unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, same, man. We used to have pickup football games, like American football. We used to have pickup basketball games. We used to do all of that stuff, and we would like count on dozens of people being there for all of them. And I don't know, like I gotta admit, like that's definitely a flaw of my personality where I'm not a good connector. I'm very, very, very isolated. Like I'm a very, very lone wolf kind of fucker. I don't do well with like I love getting together, but it's like
But you won't initiate it a lot of the time.
y- I don't ever initiate it. And
Mm.
I need to get away. Like after, dude, I have I don't know what it's called, but like whenever I go out to a bar or a club, whatever the case may be, the next day, I don't even know that I have a hangover so much from like alcohol. I think I have like a hangover from the social
Yeah,
environment where it's like,
social fatigue,
yeah,
where
where
it's
like,
you're having to put a lot more because some people just naturally they're socialites. Whereas if you have
mm,
a more introverted overall personality and you put yourself into that, that is it's just an uncomfortable situation. So when you end up seeing that through to the entire night, and then you get to the next day, you get that, like you said, it's not a hangover from the alcohol or whatever. It's just it's so mentally draining.
yeah,
Where it's like that's not me, but I'm really trying.
yeah, it really is, man. And it's like I'll get this thing where at times I just feel like not, I don't know what the term is. Like I know I'm not about to pass out, but I feel like I'm about to like I've never passed out, but like I feel like in certain social environments, I think I just I don't know, like I'll hold my breath or something
Mm,
unknowingly and feel like I'm about to faint or something, and then it's like, but none of it ever like I'm not conscious of any of this. Like I'm not conscious that I'm holding my breath. I'm not conscious that I'm not holding my breath. I'm not like I don't know how any of it happens. But like when I first walked into the club the other night, and it wasn't even like all that packed or anything. It was just like I don't know. It was the first time I had been to a club in probably 3, 4 months, something like that. And I was just like hella anxious,
mm,
super, super anxious. And I don't know. I don't know. And all of that stuff, because I remember hearing people say, here we go, this is total tangent, but I remember hearing people say that that stuff goes away when you get older. And that has been the complete opposite for me. Like I've
mm.
gotten so much more anxious as I've gotten older.
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think that kind of stems from exposure of it. When you're older, you're
Mm.
choosing the tasks that you're doing. So therefore, if you're putting yourself in them situations regularly, because it's
Right.
like, for instance, like I'm not behind the scenes and stuff. If we was to meet up in person, I'm the same. I don't. It's not. I don't find that comfortable. I wouldn't be comfortable for a very long time of being in like a social outing thing. It's just not me as a personality. Very quiet, kind of like to be left alone. That's just how
Yeah.
it is, and that's how it was. Like getting better at it, but it's. I think that's always going to be like an underlying thing. Like with me on here, that's just my personality. It's just I'll never be a very very expressive person. Um, but it has improved because I can go back and listen to like the first times that we spoke and stuff like that, and it's that thing of like I'm more comfortable when actually bouncing conversation off of you rather than just sitting there and be like, I'm waiting for my turn.
Right, right. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, that is, dude, I remember that for sure whenever I first started. And like, you don't want to over interject. So you kind of just sit there patiently,
Hmm.
quietly waiting for someone to allow you to speak. And it's like, yeah, because that's a totally different dynamic in terms of social pressure where you, there's this like, you don't want to like I remember the first time I was ever like Retro Rivals ever invited me to do something. I was so nervous doing that where I was like, man, I don't want to like fuck up anything that they have going on. I don't want to mess up their kind of chemistry flow and then all of that stuff by like stepping on a joke or you
Hmm.
get so in your head about that shit. But that's also another good example when I was with Retro Rivals and Mondane and we were at Siege in South Carolina. This was 2 years ago at this point and we went out drinking on I think Thursday or Friday night, and then we went to the event, the actual expo, the following day. I dipped out. Like I told Mondane, I was like, bro, I gotta like get some space. This is just I don't know what it was. I have no idea. But I just had to like I went for a drive, got a smoothie. I went and actually played basketball. I played pickup basketball. And it just left and went to a gym to play pick. I just had to sweat because like the toxins and all, like I really felt like I was gonna fucking faint
Mm.
just walking around that. And it's yeah, it I don't know. I hate to be like the bearer of bad news or the doom and gloom guy, but it's all that stuff when people tell you, yeah, it gets better when you get older. I can't say that I hope that's true for everyone watching, but it certainly was not the case for me. It's gotten so much worse as I've gotten older, but hey, it is what it is. Like you said earlier, you get to at least pick your battles when you get older because like
Mm.
when you're younger, you feel a lot of pressure to be in environments that you don't want to be in. But when you get older, like I've gotten real good at being like, I
Yeah.
don't care if you're upset. Like, I don't want to do that. If you want to hang out, watch football, if you want to whatever, like if you want to chill, I'm down. But more often than not, like I don't want to, you're not going to peer pressure me into doing something I don't want to do. I'm fucking 30. I'm not 16. Are you crazy?
Don't care about your validation. Get out of
At
here.
all.
But yeah,
Yeah, you ain't
that,
putting
that
money in
it,
my
it does
pocket.
get slightly easier and stuff like that. In certain scenarios, because like I said, with being uncomfortable with talking on here, and now I know that you know you'll talk over me, I'll talk over you. If I'm saying something stupid, you're happily, and it's not because we know each other now as well. That
Mm,
barrier has been shattered. You kind of know
yeah.
what to kind of expect. I know that
Yeah.
you're gonna throw shade JRPG's way because you have no taste. You heathen.
No. But it is true though. It's like you get comfortable with people and like you develop an understanding, like a back and forth style of chemistry where even like I can tell certain times where you're, and I know you can tell as well, like if I'm running out of steam, if you're running out of steam, and like it's such a cool thing that just where that's one of the best things about a two-man kind of rotation is like if you're talking about a game and you're starting to run out of steam on that, someone interjecting and bringing something else up will make you start to think about something else
Mm.
from the game. It gives you a little bit of time
Yep.
that it's hitting the ball back and forth. It's
It also
yeah.
just shakes the cobweb loose as well.
Yeah,
Because like you was doing with Stalker with the video we just did, completely forgot about the mantling shit. Would have probably wanted to point that out, and I probably wouldn't if you wouldn't have said anything. And then that spawned into other stuff. It's great. It's really great.
absolutely. Yeah, but anywho, I feel like I do this way too often on your damn channel. Turn these what could be 10-minute videos into a
I
35-minute long.
I prefer it to be this though, where it's a slow intro to get like the warming up. I will
Hmm.
say it works better instead of having
Yeah.
to jump straight in and being like bam bam bam. Right, go.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just you know chat about
Well, it's
some random fucking topic,
I don't
and
know if you've
then
seen like the rise of the AI, like full-blown AI creation in the YouTube space where it's like from inception to release, like from thumbnail to script to voiceover, like it's all
oh
done by AI
yeah,
now.
the
And like these,
shorts.
no, I'm
Like
talking like full-blown videos where it's
oh, I've seen it on
like some
shorts.
I wish I had an example. I once again, this is what rambling will
Oh
do
no
where
no no
you
no! I have seen that. There was somebody who did a JRPG video on it, and when I was listening to it, because it randomly scrolled in, and I was like, you could just feel something wasn't right when you were listening to it, and there was a few hiccups, and I was like, what the fuck is
yep,
that? And then they said something completely wrong, and I was like, what are they talking about? And then you go like, as I was going to the comments, the thumbnail's there, and the thumbnail isn't even like it's mimicking a JRPG, but it's not a JRPG
it's
that
not a real
exists
game.
yet. And it's just
Yep.
like, I was like, what the fuck? And then in the comments, they're like, what is this AI bullshit? I was like, wow, this is scary.
I'll tell you the scarier thing is the ones I've stumbled upon a few where nobody comments stuff like that. Like nobody even acknowledges that it's AI. And it's like, oh no. Like, but I think that doing stuff like this and just talking like humans is like, my hope, my prayer is that this is the counter for it. Where, when you get your Watch Mojos and your IGNs, where a lot of that stuff, like just being completely honest, could very easily be confused with AI as well, just in terms of like it is a very, very it
It's
is
formulaic.
so structured. Yeah, and it's just I'm not even to say formulaic, just it has a structure that feels like it could be inputted by like a automated system opposed to like this. There's no way a fucking AI can ramble about
No, they won't.
feigning
They
at
won't do the
nightclubs
human.
and
That they can. I've seen worryingly on Twitter and stuff. They've made 3D models that are really, really difficult to distinguish. Where you would be, do you know, like the VTuber stuff that they've done before?
bro,
They've done it for real
yes,
life now, where you can have
yes.
Taylor Swift sit there and it's everything's in sync, and it's just like that's dangerous, man. That's really not good.
I
I
saw
don't
a
like that.
YouTube channel. They were doing like news coverage for games, and it was a dude that was like a good looking dude and a hot chick. And they were like talking back and forth about the news. And no, it was more presentational. It was like one would go and then it would cut to the next news story. She would go back and forth, back and forth. And like, I swear to God, it probably took me like, not joking, 15, 20 seconds before I realized it. Like, it was back in 2022, 2023, you knew instantly. Like it didn't take a millisecond and you knew. It took like 15 seconds before I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you just said Chronos, the new dawn. Like just
Yeah.
like these weird, yeah.
But that, yeah, it's just I get it. It's inevitable that it's going to be rolling that way. It's worrying that we've seen that big of a leap in 3 years. What's it going to
Yeah.
look like in 30
Hmm.
if we're at this
Yeah.
stage already? Like,
Yeah.
oh boy. And like
It,
you
it-
said, you hope that the counteracting of it is there's going to be people that will happily consume that. They'll be blissful to it, but you would hope that other people, because I wouldn't be able to sit there and listen to that. I want to listen to something human. Of I want you to stumble on your words. I want you to get things
for
wrong.
sure.
I want you to say something extremely wrong in the way that
Yeah.
like throw some terrible opinion out there because
Yes.
it's that's just human. That gets the conversation going rather than just being very robotic. Kronos,
Right.
the New Dawn, the horror game, very good.
Yeah. Well, and it's it is the thing too where you get to a point with all of that stuff that like you saw that 50 Cent song, the Mini Men, that's done in the blues style, and it's just like objectively good. I hate to admit that because that's one of the first pieces of like purely AI. Well, I guess it wasn't purely AI because it spawned from a really great song, but like the
When it's
spin on
used
it
in
was
that
purely.
sense, yeah, it it makes sense, and it is like, oh, that's kind of gimmicky. That's the thing of like where I'm fine with AI personally is when it's used in like a gimmicky sense, or the whole point of like what it was being pushed as well. It's meant to take the really soul crushing menial shit of
Hmm.
the job. So like
Yeah,
QA stuff of like the most basic level of crap,
yeah,
but now they're trying to have it overhead even more of that, and it's just like, yeah, that's I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't want them writing their own entire stories, script, poster, and all, because people have been making movies, like little short, like 2 minute movies with it, and it's just like,
right.
mm, don't like
Yeah.
that.
Well, and that's the thing is like for the longest time it was just bad. Like it was
Mm,
just it sucked. So it's like no, who cares? It sucks. But then you hear that 50 Cent Mini Men Blues
yep.
song and it's like, oh, this is actually like really, really fucking good. But at the end of the day, it's like, I hear people say, well, this is the future of entertainment. And it's like, it's not like I got that song on my fucking playlist. I heard it on Twitter one time and I was like, oh, damn, that's actually like, that's the best AI generated song I've ever heard in my life. But like, that's where that began and ended. Like, I still listen to Mini Men by 50 Cent, like the actual song, because it was made by an actual human detailing his actual life.
Mm.
This is a fucking, like, I know it's a
I
robot. I
can
have
see
no interest
the
in listening to that.
I can see the argument though on that other side, because it's like the thing of like it's kind of similar to nostalgia. Like that was your first exposure to it, so you're going to be more aligned to that. So if you're, say, like an 8 year old and you didn't listen to 50 Cent and you listen to that, because there's a what is it? You have artists that do covers and stuff like that, and if people aren't exposed to that original piece, they think that that artist did that. If they don't say that it's a cover of X song or
Mm,
whatever it is, and stuff like that. And then they go, oh wow, that's from that. That's from the 60s. Oh, that's from the
Yeah.
70s. Wow, crazy. And that's the
I,
kind of like weirdness that I could see AI kind of manipulating people into being like, oh well, that's the first type of that song. You need people to point that out, and I hope that people
yeah.
continue to do that at least.
It's I, I don't know. I still think we're at such a an attached sort of world right now where it's like people are so plugged into like all of the celebrities and all of the gossip and all of like the actual lives that these people have. And so I think that there's a huge aspect of like you like Taylor Swift. Oh, and now I know about her relationship with Travis Kelce. And oh, now I know about, her record-breaking tours. And I know all about these little things of her life. And then like not having the actual life being lived, I think removes so much of the appeal from the art. But once again, I'm like you said, maybe I'm just old. Maybe that 30 years from now, as I'm 60, nobody cares about any of that shit. And it's just all about put the fucking content out as quick as possible and churn and burn. But which, a part of me, like I could understand if we do get to that point. I think that we're in a time now where people overshare, like
Mm.
share too much shit. So it's like maybe the course correction to that is like, well, who gives a fuck about the person and let's just get the content. So anywho, that's the three games that we didn't enjoy at first and now we enjoy. That, like that transition.
There we go, golden, golden baby. No one will mistake that for AI. Um, right, I'll kick it off, and it will it's kind of perfectly flip flopped from your video with Stalker 2. Ended up picking this back up, playing it, and definitely enjoying it way more the second time round. It's definitely got a ways to go. Um, it's not perfect by any means, but I'm enjoying it a lot more. It's the thing of like it's the whole point of the topic is I'm in the mood for this type of you're walking through the environment, you're having to take your time, you're really having to think about things and be smart. And yeah, definitely enjoyed this a hell of a lot more. Do you ever see yourself going back to this and giving it
I
another
don't
go?
know. I'm open to it. I know it's supposed to get a physical release on PS5 in December. I don't know if it's going to be the same situation where it's internet required horse shit and all that, but if it is complete on disc, like I might pick it up. But
What's the data cap limit for it's 100 gigs, right? Or 80?
well, you can do multiple discs and shit like that,
Yeah, if
like
they chose
Final
not to
Fantasy
do it though,
7.
right? It would
I think
be
it's 150, maybe 100, 150, something like that.
okay because I think it's sitting around about 150 gigabytes, 140 for the download at the moment. So
Yeah. Cause like Cyberpunk did multiple disc, Final Fantasy
mm,
7, Red Dead 2 last gen. Like you can, obviously there's cost. And then once again, this isn't, I don't think the type of game that I could understand a game of this scale not wanting to commit that extra money because it's like, it's not a guaranteed 20 million copies sold, but I think it did pretty well. They should be sitting on a decent little um, stockpile of cash. But yeah, I'm possibly, I could possibly see myself getting back into it. It was just like you said, it was rough at launch, and once all of that is completely cleaned up, maybe. But how free? Like, dude, my backlog at this point is just dead. Like, I can't keep up with the backlog. New shit's coming out every single week that I want to play, and I can't even keep up with the new releases that I want to play. So it's like I don't know, man. I Not to go into a whole different topic, but I don't think that shit's sustainable. Just this release cadence. Like what can you do though?
no,
It's not, you
no, I
know.
don't think so. It's the thing of like it's great that all these choices exist, but the industry isn't propped up in its current state of being okay with just selling an okay amount of copies. Everything has to sell lots of copies. for people to be happy, investors to be happy, for money to keep being poured in. Because if it wanes big time, if they go through like 3 years of this, of like big named releases 2 times every week, and you end up with a stockpile of say 40, 60, 80 games now from developers that just haven't sold, and that sinks them, then investors are going to be like, well, there's no money in the industry unless you're at the top. So we'll keep pumping money into Epic, we'll keep pumping money into Rockstar, but we're not going to take risks on these other. We're not going to take a risk on GSC. We're not going to take a risk on Blue and stuff like that. It's a scary,
Exactly.
like, knife's edge balance that we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it, it's a weird thing that like games are coming out more. It's taking so long for games to be made, but it's like I don't really know if we need games to be made any sooner. Like I'm starting to
No, because
come to
there's so
that
many devs.
realization.
It doesn't matter that
Right.
the game takes 8 years because there's 500 devs in
Yeah.
that are putting things out every single year, so you don't even feel it. I know people.
Right.
I've seen people be like, "Ah, this PlayStation generation sucked," and it's like, yeah, from a Sony first party standpoint, you can have that as like a, yeah, it's been kind of underwhelming, but you can't tell me there's nothing to play. That's so
Right.
disingenuous.
Right. Yeah. And like there are definitely fewer big spectacle things.
Mm.
Like I agree with that. Like this hasn't felt like a generation that is like you don't have I don't I'm trying to think like off the top of my head, but like I can't think of like the real like oh my God, that is a next gen ass experience. Like I don't really even I'm trying to think
The closest I
maybe
think for me that I think of is seeing how good Death Stranding 2 looked.
true,
From a,
yeah.
from a wow factor, it was like, holy shit, that is actually really impressive that you've made it look. Because you look at it side by side with Death Stranding 1. Like, Death Stranding 1 is a pretty game, but it's nowhere near the fidelity that they managed to achieve with Death Stranding 2 with that fucking vista. How
Yeah. The
far
draw
back and
distance
how, and
and
it's just like,
yeah.
wow, okay, like I get it. Yeah, it's not like a fantasy game where there's 100 towns and there's all moving parts and everything, but even just doing that, it just looks incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Grand Theft Auto 6 is on the way and
Mm,
you're going to get into like hopefully the generation closes off strong with
mm,
some stuff like that, Wolverine and things of that ilk. They're like, "Oh wow, okay, cool. Maybe a new Gorilla game." But like Witcher 4 would be great. I don't think that'll be this generation unfortunately, but yeah, it's definitely lacking in that regard, but it is not lacking in terms of games. These games all mostly could run and do run a lot of them on a PlayStation 4, but like there's still so many new games releasing regardless of what platform that they run on.
yep. So, what will be your first choice?
I'll go with The Witcher 3.
Mm.
Just kind of staying right there talking about The Witcher 4, hoping to God that that comes out on a PlayStation 5, but you know, I don't think there's any chance that hits before 2028 or so. So, you know, build it for PS6 and Series Y or whatever the hell Xbox is going to name that console because like that's kind of the thing that I hope next generation is like let's have some truly current gen feeling products for the PlayStation 6. You know, some stuff that's like, oh yeah, this only can work on this current gen technology. I think we're kind of out of those days by and
Yeah.
large, but it'd be nice to we'll get some, but I hope early on we at least have a couple. But yeah, The Witcher 3 is a game that I jumped into and enjoyed, but I just never really liked the combat, like ever. And even now, I still never really enjoyed the combat all that much. And so when I played it through, or I didn't play it through, but when I played it for the first like 10 hours, the first time I ever played the game, I was, you know, I play everything on normal. I don't really ever change the difficulty down, up. I just play everything on normal. And I was playing through it and I was just like, it's not like overly hard or anything. I just didn't really like the combat. And so I ended up putting it down, but then I watched the Netflix show And I was really like into Henry Cavill, the season one of The Witcher on Netflix. I really liked that. And then so I immediately wanted to play more Witcher, so I jumped back into The Witcher 3. And I was definitely more connected to the world and all that this time around and had a little bit more context for like what to expect. And the same thing happened. I just did not like the combat. And so I said, screw it, just drop the difficulty down. And then I was like, okay, yeah. The getting into just the story. Like the game, that story is just on a totally different level. God tier world building, God tier writing, and I was just totally locked in with the narrative and saw it through, played 100 hours of it, um, and adored it.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate thing because the success of the game seemed to have heavily inspired Assassin's Creed, like their step into the RPG, the way
Mm,
that they did. And the critiques that a lot of people have for the normal difficulty of The Witcher are what they feel with Assassin's Creed is what this very spongy combat with the thing, and that's the type of it's what kind of disappoints me because the game is phenomenal to play combat wise on the hardest difficulty, but you can't. That's that's like 0.5% of your player base that are going to
yeah.
experience it in that way. You can't tailor it that way because people don't want. Because the drawback of that as well is like you're going to get hit and you're going to be going down very quick if you're not, you know, in rhythm with the
Mm,
game and stuff like that. So it is really unfortunate that they made it feel so spongy in normal because I didn't particular. I was like, this doesn't feel particularly great. And then when I did my Death March playthrough, I was like, holy shit, this combat is amazing. That's crazy. Because usually when you go up in difficulties, it's more frustrating to play a lot of the time, but it wasn't. It was much more enjoyable and
mm.
engaging.
Yeah. It's it's like one of the things I really recommend for games. Like if you have a truly excellent narrative that you want people to see, is like let people really tinker with those difficulty settings however they like. And that's the thing about The Witcher is it has like levels beyond like the lowest of the possible low to where you're just you gonna run through that world with no problems whatsoever. But it's like they know they have such a great story that they don't want you to miss, so they want to give you as many options as possible. And then if you go through it, you love it, you get into the combat, then you raise it all the way up. And it's like I just think it's important to know your audience and know like if you don't have a good story, then it is what it is. Like, uh, who cares if they see the end of it? But when you have a story with an ending that is like that, damn impactful, it's like get people there. It's so good. Don't hold people back from seeing a great story.
Yeah, that story. It's the type of thing of like, I wonder if they can carry that torch in the Witcher 4 because the big thing of like the reason it felt so impactful it's kind of like I was gladly proven wrong with Yakuza moving away from Kiryu. Like Ichiban is
Mm,
a great replacement. I feel like they've done a really good job in making him be that main you are the front running character now. And that's obviously what they're aiming to do with Siri. It's not to say Siri isn't interesting as a character, it's just like it's very difficult to pass that torch when people are so locked into okay, The Witcher, what do you think of straight away? It's Geralt. You don't think of
right.
Siri straight away. It's Geralt. It's Geralt's story kind of thing. So naming it Witcher 4 as well, if that's what they're going to be locking it into, is also very dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. I I'm pumped regardless
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. I just want to see it because everything we've seen of it has been like an optical illusion at
Yep.
this point. It's nothing real. So yeah, we'll see, man. But yeah, Witcher 3 will be my first shout out.
Alrighty. Moving on to my second one. It is going to be courtesy of IGN for the gameplay. Thank you, everyone. Resident Evil 5. Um, I never played it at launch. The first like big exposure I got into Resident Evil was Resident Evil 6, which would have been when did Resident Evil 6 launch? It was like a 20.
2012,
Yeah, it
I
was about. I
think.
think it was. I was going to say 12. I wasn't 100% sure. It would have probably been 2014 then, because Metal Gear Solid 5 was 2015. It was the year before Metal Gear. I remember playing Resident Evil 6 and being like, "Oh, this is a cool game." Like
Right.
it's the thing of like when you enter a series, you don't have that, you know, the baggage of every other entry because it's like people who are going to be jumping into The Witcher 4, for instance, they're not going to have the comparison of Geralt. It's just going to be Siri as an
Right.
example. So when I jumped in, it was like, yeah, this is kind of gimmicky. It's fun. You know, it's a great little fun co-op experience and stuff like that. And going back to Resident Evil 5, it was like, oh, this feels a little bit stiff.
Hmm.
And then I went back further because I'd heard like, oh, everyone was like raving about Resident Evil 4. And I was like, holy fuck, this is even stiffer. Went
Yep.
back even further and I was like, wow, how can it get even stiffer? I was like, okay,
Yep.
fuck, Jesus Christ. And I was like, okay, well, what I'll do is the big reason I enjoyed Resident Evil 6 was because it was a co op game. Let's see if I enjoy it more in co op. And I did. I ended up finishing rolling credits with it in co op. It is a great co op game, it is a lot of fun. Um, I don't, there's been talks about it being like remade. I don't know how they would go about it. It's a very, very tonally different game to a lot of the others. It's very bizarre in the stuff that they chose to do. Um, you know, it's very very tongue in cheek with all, like the boulder punching and stuff. I know they've referenced
Hmm.
that in like Resident Evil 8, but just it felt like they really doubled down on the campiness from Resident Evil 4 and completely shedded any remnant of it being a horror game at all. Because there's no real threat in Resident Evil 5. I didn't feel like it just. You always felt like you were in control of the situation. You were given plenty of ammo. It was an
Yeah.
action game. It's what I probably, because I enjoyed Dead Space 2 and 3. It's what I could probably empathize with a lot of people who really hardcore clicked with Dead Space 1 and then got to Dead Space 3 and was like, what the fuck is this? This is not horror. This is just action, pure action. And that's kind of what RE5 just felt from. I like it for what it is. I don't know how they would fix it with its flaws, if they even could.
Yeah. It's one that it's the only mainline Resident Evil game that I've never finished. And one of the only Resident Evil games I've never finished in general. So I hope to get back into it, and I hope that I can have this kind of comeback story in the same way that you're
It's a fun game.
discussing it now.
It's the thing of
Um,
like, but that's me looking at it through the lens of like, I thoroughly enjoyed it more as a co op game rather than a
right.
Resident Evil game, which I know because they tackled Revelations 1 was co op, I
Yeah,
believe. I
had the
don't
option for it, I think. No,
online
two
co-op.
two did as
Two
well.
two did local. I don't think you could do online co-op with two. Could you?
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. Take that with a grain of salt. But I know for a
Right.
fact that Revelations 1 was 100% multiplayer co-op, and I remember playing through that, and it was like because that I prefer Revelations 2 personally over Revelations 1, and it's like it shows just how much a game can be carried via co-op. Because Resident Evil
Totally.
5 is not a good Resident Evil game. I don't hold
I
that
agree.
opinion. It's just not a good, but it's a really fun co-op game that's just fun to exist in. It's definitely
Yeah.
lower down there, and that's why it's like if they were to take a stab at it, there's no way in hell they're gonna make that co-op game. I would be
Yeah.
shocked if they chose to go down that route of a co-op thing. So you'd have to figure out how to make that a compelling single player game, which is a fucking big ask.
That is. Yeah. I have one as well, Resident Evil related, because I just played through Resident Evil 1 not long ago, and I never really enjoyed RE1 that much back in the day, like the original director's cut, or the PlayStation 1, Resident Evil 1. When
Mm.
it got remade on GameCube, obviously that's when a lot of people fell in love with it, and that's a great remake. But going back to, I was playing it through the PlayStation Plus Premium Collection, and you have like the rewind ability and all that. That made this game such a joy to play. Like any little mistake you make, yeah, no. I just backtracked too far there, or I don't want to backtrack all the way over there. I forgot this thing. It was such a joyous little experience, and yeah, I had like a totally newfound appreciation for it, and like by the end of it, I was like, oh wow, I like really, really like this game a lot. It has great atmosphere. It has great, the Spencer Mansion I never appreciated nearly as much just for how intricately designed it was for a 1996 release. Like it was a really impressive video game.
I don't think I've ever seen original footage.
Yeah.
The only thing I've ever been exposed to is that the HD like remake that they did.
Yeah, the GameCube one. Yeah, it's a lot different looking. Like it has much more of a gritty, darker sort of, tonal focus. And RE1, the original, is very, very light, very bright, very colorful. And that's one thing I really love about those
Yeah,
original Resident Evil games is like they are so, so colorful. They are almost JRPG inspired in that sense of like it's very, very vibrant, even though it's a scary setting and all that. Like they don't overly hone in on like laser focus. Everything has to be gritty, gritty, dark, dark, dark. It's like, no, there's something to be said about having something that is very atmospheric and memorable. And color does a lot to help with that.
correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't it originally spawn as a Devil May Cry game, the original Resident Evil
Mm,
game, or was
So
it the other
no,
way around?
yeah, Devil May
Okay,
Cry was supposed to be RE4,
right.
and then they were like, wait, this feels nothing like what Resident
Mm,
Evil should feel like. So
mm.
they made it its own game. So yeah, Dante was going to be Leon.
Because you even in that original, you can kind of see where them bones would have spawned from as well, with
Oh
just the
yeah,
brightness of it. Because it's not a, having played through like DMC1, it's not like a. It kind of has a lot of crossover comparison with like the way
it's
they
much
design the
slower.
level. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
totally. What you got for your final selection, my friend?
So this was of the three on my list, the shortest of. I put it down and then grabbed it back pretty quickly, and that's Lies of P. And I
Hmm.
think I threw a lot of praise this game's way. What was it? 2023, 4? No, 2023, right?
Yes, 2023. Liza P came out.
Yeah, and I think I said that the Baldur's Gate took the spot over it, and it was really unfortunate, if I'm not mistaken, for me.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Um, because holy shit! Because when I first got into it, it's it's always the thing of like when you enter a Souls like that isn't FromSoft, you kind of have to relearn how to play a lot of stuff because they turn around and like slam down their fist onto the desk and are like, "You're gonna play it our way." And
Right.
when you have that muscle memory of you've been conditioned, because that's why Sekiro. I don't think I'll ever be able to get Sekiro because they did that for Sekiro. It's so difficult to be like, I'm trying to do stuff and I can't. You don't want me to do that. And that was the kind of
Yeah.
thing with Lies of P. I didn't. It was the thing of like, there's no shield kind of thing. I didn't think you could be as aggressive as you can be in Lies of P, and you can. It's so brutal with the combat, and it's so chunky as well. Much more surprising because it didn't feel like that in the beginning. It felt kind of floaty, but when you get into the boss fights, you're like, okay, yeah, this feels good. I still need to get into the DLC. I think it was Overture. I think is what they called it. Um, need to give that a shot. But yeah, I was at one point going for the 100%. I still need to pick that up and finish that off. But yeah, it's a fucking phenomenal game. Can't wait to see where
Nice,
they
dude.
go next with
Yeah, I
the assumed sequel and stuff like that. Because I think you know the ending
the
of it.
ending's
Like
God tier,
it's
yeah.
just like you've opened up a really cool book there of possibilities. I like that, and yeah,
Yeah.
all for it.
And supposedly they're making like a horror game as well or something. If I'm not mistaken,
It
that might
has
have been
some
shipped up
it
actually.
has some really it wouldn't surprise me because there are some really unsettling moments in Lies of P as well. It's the type of thing of where they've looked at FromSoft and looked at their high points of being like, oh, Bloodborne had really good horror aspects. Ooh,
Right.
we'll pluck that and put that in. Ooh, that Dark Souls 3 felt good and free flowing and easy to get into and master. We'll take that. Like
Right.
they've they're fans of the genre, and you can definitely feel that through their work. Really impressive game.
Shit, show. Well, dude, my final shout out is going to go to Watch Dogs 2, and that's one that I played through for the first time this year. I it's a weird one because kind of similar to what you were saying about Lies of P of like a quick turnaround of like I enjoyed Watch Dogs 2 when I first played it,
Mhm.
and then I put it down for a little bit and I got back into it. I didn't really enjoy it at all. The second time I picked it up, I was like, damn, this is a slog. And then I put it down for a little bit longer. And then I picked it up once again, kind of that mood related thing. And then I picked it up the third time. I was like, oh, this is great. And it was a weird one that I just kind of juggled around mentally where I ended up landing like thinking it was probably like a B tier game or something like that. But I kind of went from a range of being like, damn, this is a D tier game or damn, this is an S tier game. Like it was all over and just settled in the middle. But it great world building, great, you're talking San Francisco and just a great, very, very like it just has such a uplifting sort of feel to it. Like when you're out exploring and shit like that, it's just like a world that it feels so inviting, and it's obviously you're talking about the Sunny and 75 like it's always there's no real it's just a very very happy sort of cozy game to jump into, but at the same time, it's like I think it's one of the deepest in terms of just systems for Watch Dogs. Like it, in terms of the stealth mechanics on offer, Watch Dogs 2 is kind of crazy for just how much variety you have in terms of the hacking. And that was something that was really limited in Watch Dogs 1, where, you know, you thought you were going to get into Watch Dogs 1 and really have full like control over all these different like, oh, I can hack this, and then it can like it really is only okay, I'm gonna hack this the street light. I'm gonna yeah, like it was I'm gonna hack to open this door. It was very, very limited. And Watch Dogs 2, you got drones that are flying around and you got little, like RC cars that you're manually controlling and hacking into and sending them to do little missions. And it's just a really, really cool game in terms. Some of that stuff definitely is way overblown. Some of the puzzle solving stuff is just ridiculous in Watch Dogs 2, way too tedious, too time consuming. But overall, like it's a solid game. Probably the least of the three that I have on here, the one I enjoy the least, but I still enjoyed it a whole hell of a lot. And I wanted to include it just for the range of like the roller coaster of emotions that game kind of took me on.
So just one last question on Watch Dogs, because I always it's a very polarizing series for people. You have it kind of reminds me of like Final Fantasy, where like people can turn around and be like, "Oh, I like the IP of Watch Dogs," but when you ask them like, "All right, what's your favorite like of the thing?" You have a very big divide. Because I actually
Yeah,
lean personally to I like the first game more because of its darker tone.
I do
The
too.
gameplay itself definitely is a step up in Watch Dogs 2.
Yep.
And that was kind of like the big disappointment because they kind of alluded that they were, oh well, with Legion we will be making it dark and you'll have all these like options, and they kind of failed on that front
Right.
like big time, and it was a big letdown. It was like it's kind of unfortunate. Um, so I
Yeah,
assume
the
you,
story was bland. I'm
yeah,
exactly in your boat. I
mm,
like Watch Dogs 1 the most because I like story. I like the story so much more. 2 is second, and then Legion's third. So it's like directly as the order of releases. I appreciate Watch Dogs 2. The gameplay's better,
yep,
but I like the story way, way, way more in Watch Dogs 1.
interesting. Because there's a lot of people that will die on the hill, and obviously that's fine, but it's just always
Hmm.
interesting when like I said, with like Final Fantasy as an example, that you can collectively agree that you love the IP, but when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, that's when blows start happening. They'll be like, no, ten's no, nine. Are you out of
Yeah,
your mind? Seven. God,
100%.
terrible
Yes,
takes.
I'm right there in line with you. 1, 2, then Legion. I don't like Legion at all, really.
No, I did think about. I will probably give it one more go of the thing because it is usually the rule of three with me, and I've only given it a go twice. I'll give it probably one last college go, and then
Yeah,
put it down and be like, yeah, I'm good. Um, but I don't have high hopes for it because there wasn't really all that much in the way of you left like you put the game down. You're like, yeah, there was okay parts of it. It just felt very bland across the board.
totally. Completely agree, man. But I I don't think we're ever going to see more Watch Dogs, but I would totally be open for it.
Yeah, that might be the next topic. Games that have disappeared, perhaps. Because it is this
Totally down for that.
generation, like the past two generations, a lot of names have been taken to the sword. Like, probably never going to see another Dragon Age game.
Oh
That
yeah, no
that
doubt.
looks like it's a nail in the coffin. And if this Mass Effect game blows, EA is happily gonna put the pillow to that as well. They're not gonna be
Yep.
looking to keep that around any longer than they have to.
Yep. Yeah, they would be happy to no longer fund 200, $300 million single player games. They've
Mm,
been wanting to get out of that space, but it would just look like such a black eye
mm,
if they kill BioWare. That was their critical darling for decades,
yeah, really
or a
unfortunate.
decade.
When were they acquired by EA? Because they weren't always EA. They were.
2009, 2008,
Mm,
I think. Believe so. I could be wrong. I think it was before Dragon Age 1. I don't
yeah,
think they
it
were
must have
acquired
been
before.
because the
Yeah,
Microsoft published Mass
Mass
Effect
Effect.
One.
Yes.
Wild
Yep.
times. Oh, how
Yeah.
times have changed.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, which angle would have been better, acquired by Microsoft or acquired by EA? It's like either of those weren't great at that time, great
Mm.
options. But
Right. Well, we almost spawned that into an hour long video.
oh,
Cut it
Jesus Christ.
56 minutes, baby. Let's go. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fun little discussion, as it always is. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a fucking blast.
Yeah. Obviously your channel will be linked in the description, as it always is. Credit to as well. The thumbnails are your gift to me because I have I think I said it on the Discord. I have the artistic capability of like a grape being squashed on the floor. Like I can put color on a screen, but it's not going to look good.
Hey, depending on the eye, that might be art to some, man. That's the weird thing about art is like, so not to go into a full different tangent, but I ask ChatGPT, I'll send it my thumbnails, and I'm like, rate it 1 out of 10. And some of them that they'll rate 9 out of 10 get 0 views. Some of them that they'll rate 5 out of 10 get great views. And it's like, I don't know. It's well,
That
who the
fucking
fuck
LA
knows
Noir
really?
one was,
Well,
if you
to
remember
be
that.
fair, that was AI. I didn't fucking that. So that's the only AI generated thumbnail I've ever made on YouTube,
Oh, for
and
real?
that's yeah.
Man, ChatGPT killing it.
It was kind of wild, and because usually I see those thumbnails, like I'll ask for thumbnail
Mm.
ideas and shit, and then that was one where I just like straight up took it. I was like, "That's fucking crazy. That looks
Dude,
amazing,"
there's
and
there's the thing of like the channel logo that I landed on. Like I'm sure I could have
mhm.
figured it out hours after that, but it's just like I don't have that. I don't have that brain power thing of like I don't have that drive to
Right,
be artistic. So it scrolled through it and it was like I think it was like the 15th option. I was like, I kind of like that. Thank you.
yeah,
And it's just like that's kind of what you would hope gets used for it. Like I said, I have my stance on it, but yeah,
yeah,
because it's just menial stuff. But then that could be argued that that's taking a job of some artist. But I ain't fucking
yeah.
paying anyone to make me a channel icon. You out your mind?
Nope,
I'm
that's exactly my
out here scraping payments as is in real life.
well, that's my theory on is like which I don't use AI for thumbnails really, other than that one. But like I didn't really feel bad about it. There was no
Mm,
chance I was going to pay someone to make that LA Noir thing. And it's like it just took from a game that's a public image that's available for free to like, it's not, I didn't really feel like I was infringing on anyone's sort of creative liberty, but some may feel differently and that's okay too. But yeah, appreciate you for having me, man. It's a fun topic.
yep, thank you. If you want to join Discord, make sure to pop a comment down below and I'll hit you back. We got a horror event running in October, Shocktober. That's what we branded it. A few people are signing up to that, so that'll be fun. I'm trying to. I don't know if I've told you about it. The For the entirety of October, it's just going to be horror games for me. I'm going to try and get
Nice.
out as
Such a
many of them because I was looking over at it and it was because I think Dan Moore said it on Twitter, and that's kind of like what placed that seed. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, we'll put it on the Discord as like an event thing.
Right.
And because I was looking through my library and being like, I'm never gonna touch half of these games unless I have to, like, be pushed. Some of them like walking sim game, and it's just like, why not just not like you've purchased them, man? Like
Right.
you may as
Play a
well
couple
get
of them.
to them at some point of even just something, even if just playing a few hours and being like, yeah, I didn't enjoy it, put it down,
Hmm.
kind of thing. But the idea is to clear as many as I can. Got a nice. I'm not being strict either. I don't think
Well,
it's the thing of like, zombies, vampires, anything spooky is open. Be as wide as you want.
right. Yeah, that's been a big thing I've been doing lately as well. Just like play it for a little bit. If you don't vibe with it, cool.
Mm.
You know you don't vibe with it. Keep it moving. Find something you do vibe with. So I think that's a good strategy, man.
Yep. Alrighty, thank you very much for watching. See you next one.
Goodbye.